Okie dokie. Making our way over to YouTube. Let's see. It appears we're good. Making our way over. Okay, awesome. So we are live. Madelaine and I are coming to you on a different day on this Wednesday, which also happens to be the day of the new moon, which is super cool. Yes. That we're coming to you live during this energy. We're going to keep this, we're going to move this, is going to be fast paced to like that Leo action, let's go energy. We're going to be talking about that shortly because Madelaine has a plane to catch. So we are going to keep this as succinct as we can. We just want to kind of open up the conversation and the dialogue around the energy of this new moon in Leo today, which was exact, I think at 5, hold on one second. Let me just go double check the timing. I don't want to be inaccurate. At 5:38 a.m. Eastern, which would be 2:38 a.m. Pacific. And, you know, I've been feeling, you know, I'm a Leo sun, so I'm always feeling this like go getter, go get him kind of energy and like, let's take action. And I also have my Mars very close to my sun and my Mercury. So I'm a fast talker. I'm a fast walker. I'm a fast lifer, you know, like I'm like zooming through life. And however, this leading into this Leo new moon energy, I felt a little bit of a different type of energy. It's a feeling of taking action and doing something, but it's different. It feels new. It feels, you know, Madelaine described this earlier when I was telling her something that I did, vulnerable. And I posted a message on my Monday message that was a message from the Galactics or Galactica. It was a channeled message that I received about a year ago that I held and did not share for all this time because it felt so incredibly uncomfortable to share something like that because it seems so like out there, forgive the pun, to share that. And so Madelaine was telling me earlier before we went live that that's exactly the energy of this Leo new moon. So where in your life perhaps have you been called to or even taken action towards something that was vulnerable, but also feels somehow liberating and free in being able to do it? I felt so uncomfortable sharing it, but then I felt this sense of, okay, well, you know, it's like ripping the Band-Aid off, but then I sat with it and now I'm in the space of like, what did I do? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So, and that's your head, that's your mind, you know, that's that energy of Aquarius. I mean, I know Aquarius isn't directly, well, it is directly connected to this as well, being the opposite sign of Leo, going into my head about it and just realizing, breathe, let it be. It is what it is. It is what it needs to be. And one aspect I want to point out that you may also be talking about, Madelaine, and then I'm going to shut up so that you can share the astrology because you've got to run, is the fact that we have this new moon is sandwiched between Venus in retrograde and Black Moon Lilith. And so this is exactly the type of energy that to me feels so in line with it, where we've got this Venus retrograde energy, which is the review of love and relationships, perhaps money. We're looking at our finances in a different way, beauty, what we consider beautiful, what we consider valuable, and we're reviewing that. Then we also have Lilith, who I describe Lilith, Black Moon Lilith, as the feisty feminine. And a lot of people say she's this dark feminine energy. She's that, like, you know, cutting ties, you know, endings, things like that, which is true. But I think of her as like this feminine that's like not taking any shit. Like she's like, we're getting in there, we're closing out these cycles, we're ending these contracts, we're completing these. And so we've got this Leo new moon, which is creative and bold and dynamic and look at me. And we have the moon, which is the emotions, sandwiched between these two, well, one planet and one point. And it's like, what a potent time we're in right now to close these loops and to really see ourselves within relationships and how we navigate those going forward and step out in a bold, brand new way with the help of and the assistance of the new moon. So that's my take on this.
That is hysterical, because you are Leo sun and you're doing exactly what you're saying. You're being very bold and very out there and shining like the Leo, you know. Yes, I mean, that was fantastic. I thought that was pretty inspiring. That's the other energy. The other way to describe this energy is that it's very inspired, and that's exactly what's happening to you. This new moon is reinvigorating inspiration about what's in our heart to do. And it's liberating us because there's a square to Uranus. So that's why you're seeing sudden unexpected changes like this, my time availability on this. And then there's like the sudden out of the blue shifts and changes are going to happen, but it's a square. So if it is impacting your chart directly, you are going to have a direct effect from this, which would be frustrating, which would be, shall we say, stressful or uncomfortable, or, you know, a stressful aspect, but it's to break you out of a resistance to what is in your heart, to what is, like you were saying, your own creative, authentic, true life that we're setting up on. Because I didn't know if we were ready for me. Did I jump the queue here?
No, I just wanted to make you
I can't help
so
it.
that when you can share, when you're ready to share the screen, you can.
Oh, the screen. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you know, so we've got this square to Uranus in Taurus, ruled by Venus. You're right. The Venus is Kazemi here. So Venus is being purified. Venus is all Venus ruled people, Venus ruled things. They're reassessing and evaluating their motives for some of the choices that they've made in love or money. Venus ruled things, arts. So you're going to see people suddenly, like you, breaking out of a rut because they've made choices that are not authentic to who they truly are, to what is in their true heart. And so then all of a sudden you have this square to Uranus come in on a double whammy there with the moon and the sun together, which the sun, by the way, you know, we know in ancient times was God. It's the energy that illuminates, that gives life, that we, you know, gives our life really. So it's the child, it's joy, it's fun, it's optimism, and it's just shooting in super strong, squaring Uranus, going, no, we're not going to cage our hearts anymore. You know, we're going to break free and live our true authentic life, do what we want to do, feel alive again, and not be trapped. Because a lot of us have been stuck and trapped in situations because of the last couple months of astrology or year of astrology. So it's this liberation of the heart, and Leo is creativity. It's the arts. Venus is the arts. Uranus is in Taurus, which is a lot of artists have very many Taurus placements, you know, physical arts that create physical arts. So you're seeing like this breakthrough of the soul who hasn't lived by the heart, and breaking out of those chains, those Uranian. That's what Uranus does to us, is it liberates us from these. It can be perception. It can be perceptions. It depends on your chart, how it is that you, it's most likely perceptions for everybody, because in some way this wouldn't be happening if we were all in alignment with our true desires. We wouldn't need these shakeups to come along and break us out of our resistance so that destiny can happen, because we have a destiny. So we're being nudged and aligned to our destiny, because this new moon, the moon will go into trining the nose right afterwards. So what happens? People get inspired, just like you. They get inspired, then the moon moves in and trines the nose, and you start making plans, and it starts to become literally a concrete new direction in your path. So this new moon, passionate Leo, fired up, inspired new moon, is getting everybody throwing off that shackle in some way and finding their heart's path, their heart's desire. It can be a relationship, a living situation, creative project. You know, we'll go through the houses and see it. But what else is going on? Mars is also trining this. So if you do have a direct impact with Uranus on this square in your chart, if it's hitting a direct planet, that Mars trine is going to get you through. And that Mars trine is opening up another door a better way. Whenever you see a square, I often see a trine at the same time. It's like one door closes and another door opens. So we're going to see frustrations possibly for those who are directly impacted by the square in situations they can't get out of, or they feel like they don't know how to live, they don't know how to do this, or they feel like they don't have the money or anything like that. You're going to see a breakthrough because that's the mental barrier, the mental limitation that's stopping you.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to see that hit.
And I find so often that our mental limitations are what keeps us from really moving forward. They keep us staying still because we feel like, oh, we can't possibly do this thing, or I don't know where the money will come from, or I don't know how I'm going to get from here to there. And that saying, let go and let God, sounds great, but what does that actually mean in our lives? And I think what you're talking about is just is like, we don't necessarily have to see right this minute what that is, but you will see the opportunity will present. It's just a matter of patience, faith, and trust, and taking that inspired action. That when you get that feeling like, I really need to do this, actually do it.
Yes, that's right. Listen to that fire. Absolutely. This is what this new moon is, because that fire is connected to God, or to your chi source life force. So it's the universe is inspiring you, so you do it.
Yeah. Go.
They're hoping you do it. They're hoping. Yes. You tapped on something, because the solar energy is the in the moment, everyday moment. It's in the moment energy, like it's constantly happening. So it is spontaneous. It is joy. It's in the moment. So with that square to Uranus, expect sudden, spontaneous, possibly joy, fun, fabulous things like we've been talking about happening. The only thing to watch for with shadow aspect in this would be potential competition. If you're in your shadow ego energy, because in my experience, the sun really does show ego barriers and blocks, because you can be an ego, negative shadow ego if you think you're better or bigger than you are. And you can be a negative shadow ego if you think you are lesser than you are. So both are ego misperceptions, right? Mm-hmm. So the truth is the real perception, which is through heart, truth through the heart. That's the Leo energy. So we're breaking barriers of perceptions that have held us back from doing our heart's desires. That's that breakthrough energy. So the shadow would be people trying to get attention. Leo in its shadow is narcissistic. So it's like competitive, I'm the best, or, trying to get lots of attention through being sexy or pretty, or just, so there's a shadow side to this as well, just so that you're aware. But most people are going to have the experience, but you know what, if it does play out that way, your ego it's going to get shown that you're going to experience some form of a backlash that shatters your ego, so because we're all sort of being directed to go up in our vibrations, we're clearing karma. So I really feel most of us are going to experience the positive of this. And if you experience a crisis, don't worry, you're not undeveloped or anything. It's just that you have some form of resistance, and we all may find some form of resistance in this energy, and you're going to be happy that you got it out of the way.
Yeah. Well, and just remember, this too shall pass. Yes. So whatever may show up for you, it's not there forever. I know a number of people that I'm working with right now, and friends, they're going through really big life changes that have the potential to impact them for quite some time. And, how they're navigating those changes is revealing a lot about their path forward and how their life will feel on the other side of these challenges. And, I'm happy to report the majority of the people that I'm witnessing going through these changes are handling it so beautifully because they're
Yes.
open to and aware of their shadows that come up, and that there's a bigger lesson in this, and that something will emerge on the other side that's beyond
Yes.
imaginings. So
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
I want to just jump in here and just use you as an example, because you have not wanted to do quite be that way, on your Instagram feed. And even tonight or this morning, while you did what you did, you were definitely breaking out into that Leo energy. Your MC is Leo. So that is definitely the energy you want to be, and you nailed it. So your ego was holding you back from being that person.
Yes.
And that is the illusion of you being smaller.
Yes.
That is lower ego.
Ah, yes, you're absolutely right, Madelaine. Thank you for sharing that.
I thought I would
Witnessing
use
me
you
in that way. Yeah. use me. But no, I think that's a great example, because you're absolutely right. There are and I feel like too, we all have these glimmers of these moments. Like I've had the glimmers of moments of like, oh, here I am. And then it's, oh, I'm scared. And
then everyone's looking at you and you're like, oh, okay, forget it.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that's great. Like maybe as a takeaway for folks is that you may already have a sense of what that is for you, because you probably had a taste of it already. And now is your time to really bust through, break through into what your divine path is, what your destiny is. And it's
creative, because Leo is a fifth house energy. So there's a strong creative element to it. And creativity can be, if you're a yoga studio, you decide to create a different image of your studio, or if you're a psychologist, you decide to do more creative emails. There's a wide range of how you can express yourself from a unique, something special and unique about you that creates joy in your work.
And Leo's fun. So remember too,
Very.
when you're in this energy, you feel the sense of fun. I think of the phrase fun and fancy free. You're just living life. I imagine myself as a little girl just skipping around and having fun and picking flowers and, blowing bubbles, and just, it's like so carefree.
Yes, that's in the moment. That's Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun. I have my sons, we'll get into the signs, but I stayed with my sons. We all got an Airbnb, and my sons brought some girls friends with them. And one of them, I'm like, wow, you are so Leo. She was like, her hair was red and her dress was kind of orange. And she just is jumping, and she's just kind of dopping around, playing and dancing as she's walking around. It's like, you've got to be Leo in your chart. So it's just what you explained.
Do you know if she did?
Well, it's funny. We pulled her chart and she was Virgo rising, but in Vedic, she's definitely all Leo.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So fun. It's just so fun.
Interesting. Yeah.
How we present ourselves, how we show and reveal ourselves, and how every system tells a little bit more of the story. There's, I find there isn't one that's like, this is it. It's like, there's a little bit of a lot, and it's like wherever you can touch into it and pull what it is that you need in that moment. I find like there's so many different modalities that are incredibly helpful when you're navigating challenges, or you're a little confused or lost, or what do I do, or which way do I go? It's nice to have these different outlets to anchor you in and to help you get through those times. So that's why Madelaine and I are here for you. That's why we show up here and share what we share. So do you want to get into the signs?
Yes.
We're tight on time.
Yep.
I guess you are. You're all excited.
Yes. And I'm so energized this morning because I'm ruled by the moon. So a new moon, I don't sleep. I'm really, a nervous energy because it's squaring Uranus. I'm super sensitive to the energy. So I'm sorry if I'm like, doing Zen meditation before. Okay, let's go. So good. Aries, we've got this new moon in your fifth house, which is really powerful to have a Leo new moon in your fifth house, because that is the house of Leo. So you're getting, and by the way, the sun in Leo is in its domicile. So it's a very strong, energetic, positive energy, joy, fun, new creative projects, perhaps new relationships. new creative projects, new friends, squaring Uranus that are not your normal group of people you would ever be friends with, or not your normal woman you would get into a relationship with if you're a man, not your normal man you would get into a relationship. It blows your mind. You could fall in love. It's a very heart-centric energy. Venus in retrograde could be your soulmate, your past person, your past life person. Really mind-opening energies for the Aries because it's in their 5th house, which tends to be it's possible that they played out a more narcissistic energies and shadow in their journeys for friends and romances. And so now it's like there's breaking through resistance, opening up the heart, letting a true heart person in. We're going to see we're seeing a lot of shifts in relationships. We have a Libra new moon coming in. So from now until Libra new moon, we're going to see a lot of people ending relationships. Also, yes, I'm glad I brought that up. Aries may suddenly radically break free. You want to break free from a relationship that's confining, that's not right. You're going to bust out friendships that are confining, that are not right. So you're looking at a breakthrough, get me out of here through the 5th house, which is friends. And then you get a new beginning with friends or relationships and creative projects. The 5th house is the Leo house of creativity, performing, being on stage. It's the celebrity house. What more can we say? I mean,
I want
that's
to chime
great.
in here a little bit around this because one of my sons is Aries, and he's 20 years old. He's in college. He's elusive, he's in his own world, and he's not super interested in answering my bazillion questions that I have as a mom. Like, what are you doing? Who are you hang out with? What's fun? What's interesting? Blah, 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 blah. And he's going back to school. And I messaged him and said, I really would like to talk to you before you leave, because we will text here and there, but he's not a phone person. So this house is also children. So I bring this up because it relates to him as my child with this Aries energy.
Interesting.
And, all the stuff that I do, he does not get. It's like, whatever, mom. However, I do know that the things that I share, because I share it whether he really wants to hear, I won't go too far, but I'll share little nuggets here and there, that he does hear what I'm saying. However, what I've noticed with him is that, and I'm just mentioning this because I feel like there may be Aries parents out there or Aries children that this may relate to, is that there's this energy of fun and invitation versus I'm just going to dump all this on you. And this can go either way. Where I asked him, like, he was complaining about something that related to sleep. And I said, hey, I have some thoughts on that. Are you interested? And he's like, no, I'm good. Not interested. But then as we continued on, I was able to share little nuggets that did relate indirectly with that might be helpful to him. So it's recognizing, I kind of wanted to piggyback what you said about this is a mind-opening energy where there might be a little bit more of an opportunity to have a conversation around things that they're typically closed off to that might be helpful. So
you might see sudden outbursts of conversations that have been building, that have been needing to happen, that have been creating separation in a relationship, and then the heart breaks through and everybody's healed and everybody loves each other again. That could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too is I figured we would talk for maybe 15 minutes or so, and we were on for almost an hour. So there was this expansive, expressive, which also was Leo sort of energy that was taking place yesterday as well. So just kind of fun and interesting to observe your life and the events that unfold and how it may relate to what's happening in the cosmos as well. It's kind of cool.
All right, so we're going to rush on to Taurus. What about the flower cards? You want to do those at the end?
You know what? I think we're just for the sake of time. We'll see at the end if we want to do flower cards. I may do
we'll see how much time we have.
Yeah, if anyone's on live, I may
that's a
do
good
it
idea.
And see how it goes. And if not, then we may just skip it this week and come back to our regularly scheduled program. Next time.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I love the flower
We'll
cards,
just
but we'll see. Okay, so Taurus. Okay, Taurus in your 4th house. So some kind of a new creative project in your home. You could suddenly get really inspired to redecorate your house and go bananas and go, you just don't like, because all of a sudden the square to Uranus, you suddenly rip a wall out and you suddenly redecorate your house and you go, no, this is the way, I don't want this wall here anymore. I feel confined in this room. Or you suddenly decide to suddenly buy a house, or you suddenly sell a house, or you suddenly move into, you're going to get some sudden out of the blue new beginning. And by the way, Venus is starting a new cycle because Venus is going to rise out of invisibility. Venus is your ruling planet. So in about a week, things are going to clear up for Taurus. Things are going to open up for Taurus really, really well. Things are going to, things are going to start rolling again. There's going to be a purified energy. You're going to really know what you want. So in the fourth house, you may decide to move. You may really see that suddenly you've got to change where you live. So you've got Uranus in your first house. So again, you're always up. Things are up for grabs for Taurus, because any minute things can change for them wherever your Taurus placement is around all of this. You could get a hit any minute. So prepare ye for changes in your living environment. Now, remember, this is a romantic, creative love energy. So romance is always in this story for everybody. It's the fifth house. It's romance, new friends, new, maybe you decide to, again, have, start a community in you own land and you start a community gardening project, because Taurus is the earth, the fourth house. Taurus is the earth, and they're often farmers. The fourth house is a farming house. So it's like a new moon in your farming house as a farmer. So you suddenly decide to start a earth growing project, and you meet a whole bunch of new friends who are completely different, that you would never think yourself to associate with. And you suddenly see that you're more similar than you thought, because Uranus is the energy of galvanizing people, breaking the divisions, the illusions of separation. So we're going to break through a lot of illusions of separation and become more heart-centered. It's beautiful energies. I love this.
It is beautiful. That is beautiful.
All right. Gemini in the third house. You're going to have Leo in your third house. So creative self-expression. You're going to have some sort of outburst from the heart, some sort of telling somebody you love them. You could make up with a sibling if you've had a conflict with them. I have a Gemini brother, and we kind of did.
Nice.
He's rising Gemini.
Now, one quick question, Madelaine, could this also be conflict? Is this all love? I mean, because if you're expressing from the heart, it may not be.
No, conflict is in the picture, but what happens is there's a breakthrough, because that Mars trining. And suddenly people, and Mars is in Virgo. So Mars in Virgo is a little less aggressive. It's more earthy. It's more practical. It's more helpful. So it's like there's going to be outbursts, and my brother and I had a little bit of this, and then we got through it, but we loved each other and we hugged each other afterwards. That's kind of the energy. So yes, absolutely, there could be an argument that's been needing to happen, but the reason you haven't talked to each other about it is because it's going to cause an argument. So now you got it. So you're going to just say, I'm going to talk about it, whether it causes an argument or not,
to be able to heal it and move
and express the self, because Leo is self-expression. So you be honest about something, you be vulnerable. That's what we ended up doing.
Oh, I love
so that was nice. I know, it was nice. All right. So then Cancer, yay, we have it in our second house of financing, money, possessions, property, talent. Remember, Leo energy is talented energy. So it's in our second house. So maybe a talented creative project opens up for us. Cancer rising, love the arts. With Leo over their second house, they're really supposed to integrate the creativity with their work income way. That's why I like to play more in my Instagram feeds now. It's fun. So a creative project opens up, a new creative project, again with Venus retrograde there in Kazemi, relationship. I keep forgetting to say we got Mercury coming into retrograde when the sun moves into Virgo. So we're going to get communications of people from the past. So a lot of these creative projects could involve friends from the past coming back who now see the heart connection, because a lot of us have ego barriers to people we really have soulmate connections to, or true heart connections to. So you're getting, during all these conflicts with COVID and all this stuff, a lot of people broke apart from potentially even their true tribe mates. So now maybe there's a regalvanization of that. And Venus is going into a new 18-month cycle. And so we're initiating a new 18-month cycle in Venus on a Leo creative new moon. I mean, we're looking at a creative artistic projects here that will play out in the next 18 months.
Well,
Very
along with
exciting.
the nodal shift that just took place in July,
That's
which is
right.
also part of the picture with the trine that
Absolutely.
you mentioned right after this moon. So
Yeah, it's
it's
going
a
to
big
trine it.
shift. It's a big shift.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, so lots going on for Cancers there. Okay. So now it's the second house is a very nice place to have a new moon. All right. Leo, your first house. So you were I need not speak. You displayed the entire concept of Leo new moon in the first house, busting out of ego barrier, stopping you from being the full lion that you truly are from the heart center.
Yeah.
That connection. And so Leos are going to have an identity change, a new identity. In fact, I had a new moon in my first house and I cut my bangs and I bought a new hat.
Yeah.
And I had a new identity. So you have this new creative, it can also play out just in your creative expression. You could change the way you do your YouTube. You could change, you decide to have more creative time, more fun. Maybe start jumping off of rocks. I'm being silly, but I'm being
I
honest.
literally did that. Like I
Really?
literally jumped off of I will have to post that somewhere. I literally jumped off of a cliffside into the water.
Yeah, you see, that's fun for people to watch. I mean,
Yeah.
just delivering spiritual messages, we may as well have fun with it. There's no sort of corporate thing on it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So Leo are going to have a lot of fun. Great new moon. You're full example of the Leo energy right there. I mean, what else? Leos might get pregnant, a new baby. I mean, it's just the full round for Leo right now. But again, this, like you say, this is the nodes are trining Leo. So it's a good time for Leo, definitely, while the nodes are in Aries. Because it trines all fire signs when the air. So when any planet's in Aries, it trines all the other fires. So it's a good time for that element.
Dig it.
All right. Yeah.
I'm so ready for some smoother
You see, yeah.
energy after the Taurus Scorpio.
We're ready for change. Everybody in some way, and wherever Leo covers your chart, you're ready to change something. You're ready to do something different.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
All right. So now Virgo in your 12th house, which I was thinking about. I was thinking about that. Like, dang, what is Leo over your 12th house? So, I mean, travel 12th house is past life countries, but many Leos, faraway countries, cultures, other faraway destinations, the country, rural. It can also be institutions. It can also be past life relationships, karma. So there is some ego. If I was to round it all up and put it in one nutshell, because all of this relates to the karma, which is often the ego, which is where the ego is taking over the soul connection to source. So the Virgo are going to wake up to their ego blocking their soul's calling, their soul's relationship, their soul destiny. So they're going to have a breakthrough and they're going to go, aha, this is what I really want. This is the person I really want. This is it. I mean, that's kind of like the message of the whole new moon anyway, but on a really big scale, because it's the 12th house is your soul's lesson. It's like the big thing. It's a big one because it's deep and you don't see it necessarily play out in a concrete way, but it's a deeply felt new beginning from a source of your soul that knows more of what it really wants. And it is spiritual because it's going to connect with a soul calling, a soul truth for your destiny, which we're all doing. I sound like I'm being redundant, but it's resisting a big barrier it's a big one.
So
I guess would be the best way to say it.
Here's something that's coming through as you were talking about that. So my guy's mom and my daughter are both Virgos, and both of them were taking trips. Actually leaving the same day, oddly enough. It occurred to me, which is kind of funny. And I feel like there is an opportunity for each of them to discover something about themselves that they would not have otherwise discovered without these trips. But there is some resistance within that, not so much for my daughter, but you know, for my guy's mom around the trip. There's a sense of trepidation around taking the trip. And you know, the story that I make up about that, well, there's some logistics to it that are challenging for sure. Like the some physical barriers, but there's likely, from what you're saying, is there's also a very deep soul barrier that is, you know, kind of giving this sense of like, oh, I don't know. But really, if the leap is taken, the wisdom comes, and that opens up the potential for the future and the path and the way forward is how I'm interpreting what you're saying.
Perfect.
Would you say? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's extremely clear, because you're right that traveling or that going outside, you're leaving the castle, you're leaving the comfort of your home, you're going out into the woods, and you're facing a fear you normally wouldn't face in your everyday environment, so you have to go outside your comfort zone to grow. So this would be Virgos going outside of their comfort zone, could be a way to put it.
And with the 12th house too, you know, you're outside your comfort zone, but you're going back to an area that you have a connection to. Clearing it up while you're there so that you can come back with a clean slate is some way I'm interpreting this for her.
Right. And she's going to make a connection, because that's a very spiritual house. I've noticed new moons in that 12th house. For me, I really woke up to a spiritual source of a problem because it's Virgo opposing Virgo. So it's you wake up to the source of an everyday issue that you have. And there's a soul spiritual lack of growth, or not lack, but a need for growth somewhere, which is to make some form of development or consciously aware of it, of a bad habit from a spiritual source or an empty source.
Yeah.
So, all right. That was fun. Okay, so Libra, 11th house. Wow, new moon Leo over you. Libras are often writers. They're very brilliant. It's a mental energy. It's ruled by Venus, by the way, the masculine Venus. And so this is an interesting time for them. Things are going to be better for them soon. Libra, you're going to have your ruling planet out of Cazimi and out of invisibility and stationing direct. I should have looked. Yeah, I think that's next week, 2 weeks. So things are going to run much better for Libra. And this new moon in your 11th house is a new beginning around a new tribe, which is interesting because the 11th house is the energy of Uranus, and Uranus is in Taurus, also ruled by Venus, which is ruling you. So you're going to feel this most likely. And you've got the Venus. So I forget which house Taurus covers for you, but I won't get, it's going to be one of the 8, 7, 8, 11, 5th maybe. But anyway, so Libras are going to be basically either meeting a new person on internet, like a dating site, a new tribe, new friend group, a new public social media website type, launching type project that is creative. You could start a new writing creative project, because we're looking at the energies that are very creative. You as a person, you are starting a whole new 18-month cycle. So you're clearing all the energy from the last cycle, and you're becoming more, shall we say, centered, back to center, and source motivated or source connected, because it purifies the sun in Cazimi, purifies that planet, so that you know true mission, or true source. It's like God says, hey, we've got plans, get back on your feet, put yourself back together, and we'll send you back out energy. So yeah.
Well, there's the other energy that I'm picking up on as you're describing this too with Libras. They're meeting new people that are going to help mold them in this 18-month cycle too. Like they'll meet a person that's really interesting to them, or really inspires them or something. And that sends them down this path of exploration that really helps them evolve and grow into who they are meant to be and who they're meant to show up. Because if we think about it in terms of the nodal activations that are happening for Libra with Aries, it's their, you know, their interpersonal relationships, how they engage with other people, that molds them into themselves. That allows them to step into who they truly are.
Yes. And we remember we've had the eclipses in the fixed signs in the last 18 months, aspecting the fixed signs. So your friends groups have been rattled up, and it's possible you realize who your true tribe are. You meet a new tribe, but also, like you were saying, outside of the box.
Yeah.
Not people you would normally hang out with, you know?
Right.
So the energy of Uranus squares, it is a wild card. So they say expect the unexpected, you know, and it sounds cliche, but it's for real.
Yeah. Hashtag truth. Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Okay. So now we're hopping over to Scorpio. You guys have it in your 10th house. Nice. So you have a new inspired creative project that involves career, or a new creative outlet. It's funny. I do know a Scorpio who is now changing her career to more musically centered projects. She's helping musicians and getting involved in the music world. All of a sudden, she's just starting that out of the blue. You would never have thought. She was always more in the healing arts. So it's like all of a sudden out of the blue, right? So she's now doing this. So we're looking at Scorpio, suddenly taking a new beginning, taking a risk in a career choice that you think maybe you didn't know would pay, but it's in your heart. You want to do it. And it's like, go for it. It's going to work. In this new moon, break out. That's actually right. The new moon is trying to get you out of a box that you put yourself in, or some sort of limited career holdback. So it's like Leo is the energy of busting out, and the tarot card is the child being free and coming out of hiding, as it were. So Scorpio are going to take risks in their career house, creative projects, go for a more creative a way to work that expresses what they truly want or desire or believe, or they bust out and become super, shall we say, expressive at work. And they become more self-expressionist, like what you did.
I was going to say, I think that does tie into, it's both the Leo and the Scorpio, because the way I expressed myself in that Leo fashion was through my channel of my career and my work. So it was the combination of the two of those, and how that translates into my work and my creative expression going forward, I'm not totally sure at this point, but hopefully this moon cycle will reveal a little more information.
I guarantee it. In fact, I think it's already doing it. I think it's already in process. All right. So okay, so now we're going to go to Sagittarius. So they have this new moon. That's interesting. They have it over their Sagittarius house. So it's a new moon in their 9th house. So that is very exciting. That's possible travel, new projects involving travel, creative expression, or creative projects around traveling. If you're you could be a teacher. You start like me. I do workshops and I teach it. So you could start a new teaching project. You might start I might start my workshops back up, which I am planning on doing, but it might be starting sooner a little bit. So we're looking at new beginnings, new inspired creative ideas. Now, here's another interesting way that could play out. You suddenly decide to travel somewhere where you never normally would think you ever would. You also, a new moon in your 9th house is a new opinion, a new belief, a mental breakthrough. You have a new, shall we say, spiritual outlook that enables you to start, shall we say, a new moon, by the way, you can't see results in about 6 months, but depending on the sort of big chart, how long that result will play, I'd have to go in and look, but the new moon is seeding, so we're not necessarily seeing the results, but it will play out within the next 6 months. You'll start seeing these new beginnings playing out. And so what we're going to start seeing, and plus when the moon moves into that trine with the nodes, you're going to see practical movement towards these, planning, strategizing. So Sagittarian rising are probably going to get into this new inspired desire to travel and take plans forward and perhaps teach. What they might be inspired to start teaching. Leo is all about teaching. That is a very strong teaching placement. They could decide to travel with their children. What else? Squaring Uranus is going to be, they may suddenly meet a love of their life that's of another culture, that is from a faraway culture. Like my son has his Venus in the ninth house. He's always with other cultures, women. He always goes for Latinas, lovely Latina ladies.
That could
He has
also
his
be the
Venus.
fact that he lives in LA.
That's true. That's true. But there are lots of white women in LA.
Yeah,
He
that's
seems
true.
to forego.
Yeah.
So anyway, so what else is that in Leo over your 10th? You're really seeing it, Leo over your 9th, new inspiration, just energy to go do the travel. I mean, just as simple as plain as that. I know a lot of Sagittarians that are itching to travel. So they suddenly bust free and say, I'm doing it. What else can we think of for the 9th house? Teaching. You see, astrology is the energy of traveling because you're always seeking and wandering. So it's the energy of wandering and seeking. You just get on some sort of mission, a new project where you're wandering and seeking and learning. You could start learning something new. You could start learning astrology.
Well, it almost feels like if you're a Sagittarius, sun, moon, or rising, and you stumble across this video, you're in that new moon energy of higher learning and discovery because of what we're talking about.
Right.
You know, there's already so much of that happening for them. In that way. So, all right, I feel like we gotta move for your sake. So Capricorn.
Yeah, I had to check the time. Yeah. Okay, so let's do it. Capricorn. We're almost there. Actually, we're good. Yeah. Okay, Capricorn, you have it in your 8th house. So a new moon over your 8th house. Well, you could have a new moon could bring you an inheritance, a new beginning in a financial investment. You could start to invest in something. You could get an inheritance that enables you to invest in property or something. New moon in the 9th house. You could, sorry, 8th.
Well, I'll throw an example in. So, you know, that's also other people's money. So it could be, you know, I'm putting kind of a story together here with my guy where he's looking to purchase a property for his mom, and that's Taurus, 4th house. And then you have the Capricorn 8th house, other people's money, loan, that sort of thing.
Yep.
So, that could be the story. So, for people who are listening, if you have Capricorn anywhere and it's 8th house, where, look at your other placements to see what that story is for you. So it could be an inheritance investment. It could be a loan, it could be, you have a loan and you pay off the loan because of the inheritance or a number of different avenues.
A new moon could enable you to get out of debt. I had it happen to me. Yeah. So it's, and I, so we don't leave it out. It could be a passing of somebody in your family, but usually you can see that it's coming. So, Leo over your 8th house is the creative financial solutions, out of the box creative solutions for something. You suddenly break through the barrier of fear of going into debt, break through mental barriers. Debt is not bad, by the way. It's how you leverage. A lot of people become sick. A lot of people are afraid to go in debt because they're afraid they're not going to make the money back. If you go into debt on this new moon, I don't want to guarantee because I have to look at your chart, but there is a very, very, very good chance you will absolutely be able to pay that back.
Nice.
If you take a debt out or a loan out on a new moon with Leo like this, obviously depending on the rest of your chart and other trines and things, there's a very good chance, almost 100% sure you're going to pay that back.
Well, and if you are unsure and you're in that position, reach out to Madelaine and she'll take a peek.
I'll take a look.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Okay, Aquarius, this is big fun for you guys. This is in your 7th house. So you've got Venus there, you've got the sun, the moon, and you've got Uranus, which is your ruling planet, in your house of Taurus. And so what we're looking at is a very reevaluation of your relationships on a very deep level, really. But even if you're in a long-term committed relationship, you're reevaluating the dynamics of that relationship. You're taking a new beginning in your relationships, new beginning in love, romances, new contracts, maybe. It can be, I had a new moon with a person on, I wrote on the new moon in Capricorn, on my descendant, I started a work relationship, signing contracts with someone who we did a website and work together. So very good chance you start some kind of a contracted agreement, partnership, business with somebody, and it will be very favorable. And there's a good chance it's creative. Now, creativity can just mean solution oriented. You have creative ideas that bring solutions. So perhaps there's some creative business you start with somebody that brings solutions, and that's a creative self-expression with that person. It's a creative project. It could be a writing project. Uranus squaring your seventh house with this is a good chance it's an out-of-the-box relationship that you normally wouldn't expect to see, or you break through a mental barrier from a resistance to a project with a relationship that you now see as a really heart-centered thing. You want to do it. And if you're single, this will be really clear. You suddenly break out of the resistance to the true person that you've been carrying. If you're in separation from somebody, you've been carrying a mental resistance to them. So now you suddenly go, I can't do it anymore. My heart's got it. This is going to happen to a lot of people because relationships are shifting with the South Node in Libra. So this is the heart breaking through, saying, no, I know who I love. I don't want anybody else anymore. Energy.
Another little, oh, sorry, go ahead. Did you want?
Well, just that breaking out of a trap situation in a relationship, feeling boxed in. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, similarly, if you're from a legal perspective, because seventh house is also legal matters as well.
Yes.
There could be a creative solution to perhaps a legal issue that you have that's been ongoing, being able to find a new way through that. I've got a couple people in mind that could be a potential pathway for them.
Yes. I think that's fabulous, because that is to have Leo over your seventh house would literally mean have fun with friends and people, running businesses and creating, contracted situations with other people and have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And be creative and exactly like you said, come up with creative solutions for things.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's the seventh house. And last but not least, we have Pisces, and this is happening in your
sixth.
Leo is the sixth house. So the sixth house for Leo. So that's great. Good. Because my son is rising Pisces and he's got his Mars right on this new moon. So this is great. So inspired opportunities coming in that are good for your work. It's a new, see, a lot of Pisces are musicians and artists, almost pretty much across the board. And they will have Leo over their sixth house, which means, because the sixth house is what you do on a day-to-day. So they're very detail oriented. They do a lot of practicing because it's a day-to-day practice. Detail, that's like they practice instruments. They're musicians. So they practice their instrument on a daily basis. So maybe a new instrument or a new, shall we say, creative project. You could get into a new band. You could get into a creative project or a work project involving somebody you love, involving a romantic mate, your true love, your person. You could, like, if you were a musician, Pisces, you might get into a musical band with people you really love. That they could just be friends that are soul connected people. You suddenly realize this is your right group. And it could be even a romantic connection as well, because you cannot rule out romantic connections in these energies at all. Just throw that in there. Just assume that's in the pot, So what else can I say about for Pisces? So with that square, they could get sick because you have a square to the sixth house. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
So be careful. Keep stress low. They could, because that's the sixth house is the house of stress. They get stressed very easily by their mind, ego, that it really stresses. They stress their own, how do I say it? Their own selves out. But anyway, so maybe they suddenly wake up to how they stress themselves out through the mind. And then the solution is through their day-to-day practice in their music or their day-to-day, what they do on a day-to-day that's healthy. What you do on a day-to-day makes you wealthy or healthy. So new beginning in something creative, because in my opinion, all Pisces have some very strong creative bent in their DNA. And that's why, because they have Leo over that 6th house, and they do it every day. It's what they want to do every day.
It may also relate to a change that they make that's a creative change related to their health as well.
Exactly.
Because of that 6th house and finding ways. I mean, stress can be related to your health too, but finding ways to, maybe you wake up 30 minutes earlier and you go for a walk, or you decide you're no longer going to eat processed food, or whatever it is, a decision that's made on a day-to-day basis that will help your health, as well as, that could be creative in nature too.
Well, you could start a jazzercise class. You could start like a creative dance workout routine. And in these energies, in Leo new moons, you're always going to meet new people, new friends. You're always, so whatever, let's say the Pisces do that, they start a jazz class, or they start a workout routine in a workout club. It's a good chance that's where you meet somebody, or you meet your person, or you run into people. And these are new beginnings, inspired new beginnings. So there's going to be a creative element, no doubt about it. Self-expression, a new project that they want to do, a new idea, a new, because Virgo's an earth sign, so it's practical. So it's going to be a new practical solution to creative practical solutions to problems that improve your day-to-day living,
So let's do, since we're here almost at the top of the hour.
Okay, great.
Let's do one card that's an overarching theme for the entire Leo new moon cycle, and then Madelaine can get on her way. So we're just looking for an energy, Leo new moon for all signs, Leo new moon for all signs. Let's see what comes, what flower wants to be revealed. Oh, I love this.
No way. It's a Leo one. Looking
Bird of Paradise.
Oh, great.
I mean, talk about a bold flower, a beautiful flower that looks creative. We even have the oranges and the yellows of the green in the background for the heart. Yeah. What were you saying, Madelaine?
Perfect. Well, it looks like it's that Uranian square. It's just broken out of that little shell, that little casing.
Yeah. Here
it's
you
amazing.
Go.
Wow.
Yeah, this has to do with a meditative state of mind and feeling more connected to everything around us, which I feel is so true. But it also, to me, is this. It's a kind of a sleeper flower, because when, before it blooms, it looks just like this. There's not much to it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, you have this beautiful flower that you didn't quite expect. And I feel like that's what's happening for all of us.
Oh my gosh.
We're not shining that vibrancy that is within us for whatever reason. And this is the energy and an opportunity for us to do just that. So I love this, the Bird of Paradise as the card.
That is the perfect card for it. I'm blown away. It is exactly what these energies are. People breaking out of their ego barriers and shining and changing their lives and taking action and feeling inspired and going for it,
Yeah.
Breaking out of resistance. So that was fun, Amalia. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, it was fun. All right. And so everyone, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for following us on this Wednesday. We will be back on Sundays for what is next? Full moon.
Is it Pisces?
Yes. Yep. And
exciting.
Sundays. Yes. So we'll see you then. Madelaine,
all
safe
right.
travels. Everybody, happy
big Leo hugs.
Moon. Yes.
Yeah. Big Leo hug. Happy new moon, everybody.
Bye,
Thanks
everybody.
for watching. Okay. Bye. Bye.